Hi, and welcome to our Tuesday leadership call. We are very lucky to have Michelle Vitelli, Premier Coach for 2015, on the call with us today, doing a Q&A to answer some of our questions. Unless anybody has a question to get started, I will get started with Leah's questions so that we can make sure that they get answered too. So Leah asked, how do you find time every day to work the business? Are you breaking it up here and there when you can, or do you schedule time each night? Now, a little background, Leah is an engineer, and I mean, she has days where like she had to be in Philadelphia today by 7:15, woke up at 5 a.m., didn't work out. Some nights doesn't get home until 8 o'clock, get the girls to bed, dinner time, and then whatever is left of the day. So just to give a little background about what she's going through.
Yeah, that's a great question. Some days it's hard. And what I try to do is get at least 5 days in. So sometimes because of my schedule, it's not always realistic to do 7 days. So I think if you just kind of at least have the mindset of getting 5 days in, a lot of it's planning, taking kind of a look ahead of what the week entails and, planning that time in. I know, like for us, Tuesday nights is a madhouse, and the weekends are kind of a crapshoot. And then there's usually at least one other night during the week, that's a little Friday nights because Gabriella has games that were out in like Downingtown. So, those things were a little iffy. So what I would do is, if I could, I would get up a little bit earlier and at least just get a few things done. What I always try to make a priority is at least the invites. So, I mean, like, I know I'm going to get my workout in, so if you kind of go back to the 3 vital behaviors, like, I know I'm going to get my workout in, like, that's no brainer. I know I'm going to drink my Shakeology. That's the no brainer because those things are just kind of part of my routine.
Mm-hmm.
If anything is going to get lost in the shuffle, it's doing the invites. So those are the things that I really try to make sure I schedule at least time to do at least 5 days a week. The follow-ups I do in between things. So, sometimes at work, if I have a little bit of a lull or a break, I can kind of check the messages and reply to people and follow up. I keep a calendar. I'm a paper and pencil person. I've tried like apps and, different technology things. I just can't keep track of it. And I think part of it is because I'm on the go so much. I need to have something that's at my fingertips all the time. And I don't like looking at things on my phone because I'm old and my eyesight isn't good. And I just can't see the things or find what I'm looking for. And I'm like trying to enlarge the print and scrolling over, and I just get really frustrated. So I invested this year in the Erin Condren planner.
Yeah.
And I love it. And it's funny because now I'm finding it's almost not enough space for me, where I thought it was great the first couple of months. So my kind of backup to my system is I do have a Google Doc of the people that I've been keeping in touch with. So I try to update that at least once a month or twice a month, just depending on how I'm able. So you can see, like, I write people in as I find people. So I have my people who are typed up. The people I've highlighted with a highlighter are people who I'm actively talking to that have expressed an interest now. I will write notes, and I have a comment section over here. So like I have somebody who wants me to follow up with them in April.
Okay.
So I wrote in there, follow up in April, follow up mid-February. I had those things in there. Somebody was having surgery. So I write notes like that. So then I can just touch base with them too and say, hey, I know you had your surgery. How did it go? So, I mean, trying to just kind of build that relationship too, and not making people feel like you're just after a sale. So that's what I do to just kind of keep tabs myself, or if somebody's having a baby, I try to write that stuff down, like, oh, I'm pregnant, but I want to do something with you when I have the baby, after I have the baby. So I write in there, due October or whatever, so I know when to follow up with them. So that's kind of how I schedule it. I think I answered the question.
No, that was great. And I like how you said, about making invitations a priority. So like, say you have to wake up at 4:45, you just get those 4 or 5 invitations out, 3 or 4 invitations out, however many you choose. And then get to the other things that you know are going to happen, and then respond later.
Yeah. And what I do is I kind of front load my month. So I'm very heavy in the beginning of the month with invites. One of the things that has helped me a ton was when I started implementing the calendar schedule and really planning a month or two ahead of knowing, what challenge groups I want to run. 21 Day Fix has been pretty consistent really every single month since it came out. In February, I ended up adding another 21 Day Fix group though, because I didn't get enough points. Like I knew I wanted to hit at least 10. By the time my first challenge group started, I only had 6 points. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I need something else to invite people to. So I have to add another group. Hey, I'm going to start another one on, I'm starting it next week. So prep week is this week, on March 7th. Did I really want to add another group in? No, but that's kind of the beauty of the 21 Day Fix. They're only 3 weeks. I have everything in buffer. I just kind of click it out and then just check into that group every day. I kind of felt like I was like losing ground a little bit. I would say like December, January. I'm not really sure what happened because those are usually really good months where I just wasn't having my challengers be as successful as usual. And I think part of that was, when you're buffering posts, it's easy to forget to go check into the group. And, and especially if I'm not doing that program, I don't want to say I forget, but sometimes I do, to go check in that group every day. What I've done this month or the last, I say month and a half, that has really so far worked really well is I have a sticky note in my day planner of all the groups that I have going on currently. And I kind of use that as a guide every day. Check in hammer and chisel. I had a VIP hammer and chisel. So I had the regular hammer and chisel with all you guys. I had a VIP hammer and chisel, which is I picked 5 people who bought challenge packs and I just did like a special group for them. And then I had a fixed group. I had a coach basis group. So I had so many groups going on and I was forgetting to check into things. So I had that list that really helped me. And then I had who my people are in those groups. And once a week, I started private messaging them. I've never done that because it tends to take a lot of time. I felt like it took a lot of time, but I think making that personal touch has made a big difference. I have one of my girls, actually I might have a couple of the girls upgrading to a coach.
Oh, good.
For the discount this month. So, and that's really my goal right now is really just to keep building that, the team. And how you're going to build that team is having successful challengers. So, there's kind of a couple keys there. You have to be consistent. You don't have to be perfect. You have to be consistent. If you're not being consistent, you can't expect your people to be consistent, whether that's your challenge group participants or whether that's your coaching team. So that really kind of falls in line with everything. We all have weekends or days or whatever that our nutrition is not on track. Like, that's okay. But people want to see that these programs give results. And if you're not showing that the programs give results, how are you ever going to convince them that these things work? So the consistency is really, really important there, even if it's just maintaining, so for me, I might have had like little ups and downs or have done a different program that's changed my body in a way. I'm not losing a ton of weight, but my body is reshaping itself. So, it's kind of sharing that journey too, that, don't feel like if you're, at your goal weight or whatever, that you still can't share your journey. People want to see that you're also maintaining where you are, and not like some of these other programs and products out there. I won't mention any names. We all know what they are. That once you come off of them and stop, you gain all your weight back, because it's not a lifestyle. It's a quick fix. Yeah. So, you want to share with people your lifestyle of change and the kind of ability to continue that change over a period of time, not that you're kind of going all over, the map, like with the products that don't work.
There are a lot out there.
Yes, there are.
Yeah. Now, she also asked, are you sharing about Beachbody at work? Like, is it okay? Is your work okay with it and accepting about it? She's just a little worried that she feels like she might be looked down upon for having a side business when her job is already so time consuming.
You know what? I think it just kind of depends on what you're doing and your comfort level. I mean, everybody at work knows that I work out. They see me drinking my Shakeology. They see me pack my containers. And it's funny because when I first started doing Beachbody, the one job, like they used to make fun of me all the time. Oh, I guess you're not going to participate in our, lunch today because you've got to eat healthy. And I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. I'll pack my food and I'll come eat with everybody. And I'm thinking, that's why all of you guys are out of shape and unhealthy, and I'm not. you know but if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. And guess what, gradually all of them kind of converted over into doing it. So it's just kind of keep holding your ground and leading by example, and people will follow. I do bring it up. I don't like at work, I'm not like outward about it, like talking about it. I do bring my Shakeology cup. I do have like my water bottle, things like that, and the containers and stuff. So if people ask, I will talk about it. But what I try to do is connect with them either on Facebook or get their email. So I'm not doing it on work time, because I know that can be looked down upon. So I'll say, hey, give me, I'm happy to talk to you more about it, but let's do it, outside of work. And, give me your number or email, Facebook, whatever, and we can connect that way.
Awesome. I know this isn't, my opportunity to answer questions either, but thinking about it, is having a side business or something like that. Like if this is something you enjoy doing, I think that you should be able to pursue your passions and what you enjoy, even if you do have a job that takes up a lot of your time. That's just personally, we are so giving of ourselves at work and so giving of ourselves to our families. Why not have this plus the sense of community that Beachbody has going on?
Well, and I think kind of even piggybacking on that a little bit is that when you have a job that is very time consuming and very stressful, you need to have time for yourself too, to decompress and just kind of have that mental sanity. And, for me, working in healthcare, that's huge. I see a lot of healthcare workers that do not take care of themselves, and they work crazy hours, and they don't take time for themselves. They don't take care of themselves. And it's very draining when you're dealing with sick people all day, and people who are whining and complaining, and they don't want to be there, and they want to be home yesterday, and they want to be better, and they don't want to have memory problems or a stroke or, balance issues, and it can be very emotionally draining. And, it's funny because I wasn't working, I'm working a lot more now again than I was before. And I'm realizing how emotionally draining it is, because I work one-on-one with people a lot, and it's like, because we're in a closed office, I feel like they feel like they can come in and unload because they haven't talked to anybody else all day, especially if it's an older person who's widowed. They don't have somebody that they're talking to at home, and I'm like their friend that they come in and like unload on. And I'm the type of person, I don't know if you guys listen to Shalene Johnson's podcast, but when she was talking about the introverted extrovert, I was like, oh my God, that is me. Like, Shalene, I feel you, girl. Like, that is me. And that's exactly how I take on like everybody's problems, and I worry about them. The other night I couldn't sleep because I was worrying about an issue with friends of ours. Oh. And that's just how I am. Like, I kind of hold all that in and I take it to heart, even though it's not my darn problem. But, it's like, oh my God, what about this? And what about that? And how's it going to impact their kids? And, that's just, I've always been like that. And that's probably why I'm good at what I do as a healthcare professional, but it also takes its toll on me personally and emotionally. And so for me, the workout is like my release to that, and enables me to kind of take on all these issues that are going to be thrown at me during the day. So, I think in those types of jobs, you have to have something like this. You have to, or you're going to go crazy.
Thank you. And then her last question was, how are you finding new people to invite since you've been doing this for so long?
I've gotten really good about talking to everybody and anybody. Really. I remember when, I just used to be like, oh my God, I don't want to talk about that. But, really kind of learning to listen to what people are saying and taking the opportunity when it's there. So when somebody's like, oh my God, I saw, you work out all the time. Like, how do you do that? As soon as they bring that up, I'm like, well, what makes you think you can't do it? You know, like you have to just kind of take those conversations where you can. I was shopping the other day in Justice for my daughter, and I was talking to the girl, and I was like, oh my God, I'm having such a hard time finding sandals. And she was like, oh, you know, what are you looking for sandals for? And I was like, oh, my daughter and I are going on a cruise. She's like, oh, that's awesome. Where are you going? And it led into, I told her it was a Beachbody cruise. I'm a coach. I got it for free. Da, da, da. By the time it all rolled out, she was like, oh my gosh, my mom, we saw Shaun T on TV, and she was like, oh my God, I feel like this is a sign that I should be working out. And I was like, you know, and that's kind of, I gave her my information, got hers, and I've gotten just good at that. And that's how I meet new people. Another thing that I just started doing recently was paying to boost my like page. I haven't had anybody purchase anything yet, but I have a few really, really good conversations going with people. And it's funny because I never would have done this like a year ago, like just start talking to people I don't know. And it still kind of freaks me out a little bit, but I know it's really the only way that I'm going to continue to build, because you're only going to come in contact with so many people during the day. So I'm working that first. And then I think eventually I need to learn how to use Instagram a little bit more efficient. I have no idea. I mean, you guys know, you hear me say all the time, I'm just not a tech person. So, I mean, even just doing like the whole Facebook like page and ads and all that is a huge stretch out of my comfort zone. But I know that without doing those things, I'm never going to grow.
Josh made it sound like Instagram, like we should all be on.
Yeah. I mean, I have Instagram, but like, I just feel like those things take up a lot of time. I mean, and maybe it's just because I don't know what I'm doing, but like to go search hashtags and all that, like I don't have time for all that nonsense. Like I need to make work for me what's going to work for me. And, so far what's worked for me is the face-to-face conversations and meeting people and Facebook. So, why am I going to, I know I'm going to have to get there eventually, and I'm okay with that, but right now this is what's working for me. So I think one of the mistakes that I made when I first started was trying this, trying that, trying this, trying that. And I spent a lot of money that I wasted, and I failed because it wasn't where I was comfortable. So I think you need to grow first where you're comfortable. So if you're comfortable on Instagram, if you're comfortable on Facebook, if you're comfortable with YouTube, like whatever your kind of zone is, Periscope, whatever, is to find that zone, learn it and stick to it, and not worry about what everybody else is doing and what is making them successful. Because, it's kind of just like, think of it like a workout program. I may get great results with 22-minute hardcore, where you might have had better results with hammer and chisel. Every body and everybody is different. That's why there's so many avenues out there.
Yeah, good answers. And they're the 3 questions she had. So
good questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked them too when I read them.
And I think, with the time thing, what I did, like when I was working full time, was I tried to do at least 30 minutes a day. And generally for me, because I was leaving for work so early in the morning, it was after the kids went to bed. I would do at least 30 minutes of working on my business. The podcasts and training, I would listen to in the car as I got ready and all that. So that's kind of how I did that. The weekends, when I knew I had a little bit more time, is when I would spend a little bit more time. Then over time, I was obviously able to back off my work hours. And now, I'm doing like 3 full days a week now. And so I'm finding it hard to get those things in on those days, especially if the kids have activities and things like that. But when I put them to bed, I'm probably like 9 to 10 o'clock every night, or 8:30 to 10 o'clock, working on things. So whether that's, listening to a training that I know I want to take notes on, so sometimes what happens is I listen to these trainings and I'm like, oh God, I got to go back and listen to this because I need to write stuff down. I do that all the time because I listen to the podcasts and stuff on the go. So I try to go back and take those notes and you should see my desk. You guys would laugh, like sticky notes, like galore of go listen to this, do that, do this, whatever. I think I'm keeping 3M in business single-handedly. Post it. But, just finding where those, snippets of time are and taking advantage of them. So like if I know I'm taking the kids to practice, I want to watch some of it or a game or whatever. But if they're warming up for half an hour, I'm on my phone. I don't need to watch the warm up, but the phone goes off when the game starts.
Nice.
So you have to find those windows.
Yeah.
And you know what? You don't need a lot of time. I think I take a lot of time now because of us building trainings and things like that to help train our team. But, just from kind of a basic start level, it really doesn't have to be, a ton of time. It really doesn't.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
And it's the consistency. It's more consistency than it is time.
Next.
I'll go.
Okay, thanks, Lauren.
So my one question was kind of answered, but I'll still ask it in case like you have any information like that you want to add.
Sure.
It was before a while ago, like you've mentioned that, when you first started out, you didn't sell to family. So what was your point that helped you get out there? Like you were timid, or like, how did you initially get yourself out there?
You know what? I think I just realized that was really the only way I was going to be successful. And so I had to get out of my own head, and it was really, when you're not putting yourself out there, it's just because you're holding yourself back for whatever reason. And, for me, I can tell you exactly what was going on in my head. I was very afraid of being judged, and just a lot of a lack of self-confidence. And worrying what other people think. And it stems back to the way I was brought up. I grew up in a very strict Italian Catholic household. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad, worked. He left probably 7 a.m, didn't get home until 6:30 at night. And, so my mom kind of just ran the show. I have one sister, so with my sister and I. And it was always, you have to be prim and proper, be a lady. You don't wear your hair like this. That's too much makeup you have on. That you got to go change that skirt is too short. Well, you can't do that. What are people going to think of you if you do that? So in my head, that was always, you can't do that. What are people going to think? What are people going to think? What are people going to think? And it's crazy how even as a 42-year-old adult, I still hear that tape running in my head of, you don't want to do that. If you post your before and after picture out there, what are people going to think? They're going to judge you. They're going to say this about you. And, and I remember even too, my college and my mom going, oh my God, she's getting fat. Like she better watch. And I'm hearing that, I'm 4 years younger than she is. So I'm in high school and that's the message I'm hearing. Now, my mom never said to my sister, you're fat, or she would never do that. But I heard that, and then I'm like, oh my God, what is she saying about me? And so I think for me, that's always what it's been, is I hear what other people say about other people, or what people say about other people, and then I'm like, oh God, what are they saying about me behind my back? And a lot of that is how I grew up. And I've had to do a lot of personal development to work through that, and it's still an ongoing battle. Battle of worrying what people are going to think. And, I kind of wish I could almost turn back the clock to my 20s and have more of an attitude that I have now and make it better for me at this point in my life, where I don't care what people think. And I've gotten a lot better, but there's still those moments I catch myself and I'm like, stop. Why do you care? Why do you care? If they're going to unfriend you, let them unfriend you. It doesn't matter. The people who are meant to be in your life will be in your life. The people who care about you will be the ones that care about you. And generally, the people who are talking about you wish they were you.
Yeah. Because I feel with that, I kind of when I first started, I really had to get over the fact that you're going to have to reach out to people to be successful. But I do find myself periodically going back, because I feel with me still in progress and everything, well, are they really going to want advice from someone who's bigger? So I kind of occasionally go back to that, and when I'm posting and this and that, and it's well, you know, I find myself doing it, and like I keep like, I don't know. So I thought that, you know, I would ask because I feel like it's just like I don't do it as often, but I still find myself doing it, and I still find myself judging myself.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? I think for you, what you need to do with your mindset is be consistent in your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that you're doing your workouts, staying on point with your nutrition, and getting the results, and sharing that progress with people as you go.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people out there that can relate to you. You need to find them.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people who, you know, I mean, we're all works in progress, but there are a lot of people, you know, I mean, I think one of the problems that I had was I didn't have a lot of weight to lose. And I thought people were not going to be able to relate to me because I don't understand their journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they had 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds to lose, I lost 15, 20 pounds. Like, what do I know about that? You know, the biggest I've been in my life was when I was pregnant, like 30 pounds more, you know, than my baseline weight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I look at it like, people are looking at me like, yeah, well, you've always been small. And even when you were 30 pounds overweight, you were still kind of small anyway. Like, what do you know about relating to me? I have 100 pounds to lose.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I think the beauty of this business is different people are going to relate to me and different people are going to relate to you. You know, I have to find those people that can relate to me. You have to find those people that can relate to you. And they're very different.
Mm-hmm.
They're very different. But you need to have a little bit of bravery and courage in sharing your journey so that people can relate to you.
Yeah.
And share that progress.
Yeah, I a lot of times will second guess when I'm posting, and I just actually had a conversation with Amanda, and she kind of helped me get out of that because, you know, I was having a hard time like posting, like, you know, when I work out, like, I'm not gonna lie, things jiggle, and it kind of and it makes me really self-conscious. So I, you know, didn't want to post workout videos and stuff like that. So, and that was, you know, a problem that I had, and, you know, I just, you know, so thank you, Amanda, for helping me the other day. And
Laura Lynn, guess what?
But
guess why I don't post videos? I'm not
why?
comfortable with it. I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable. You know, I mean, and you probably, you know, you look at me and probably say, you're nuts. You know what I mean? But it's here.
Yeah.
It's here. And it doesn't matter how fit you are, what other people say, how many compliments I get from whomever. If it's not here, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I get that. You know what I mean? I get, like, and the same thing. Well, what if the fat on my butt jiggles when I'm showing this video on Facebook? Like, what are people going to say? Like, it goes back to that. That's why I don't do it. And I have to get out of that. I don't know if I ever will, but it's okay. Like, I'm still successful without having to do that.
Right.
You know, and I think kind of the bottom piece to that is I still share my journey. You know, I'm still sharing my successes, my story, and all that. But, you know, I think for you have such a huge potential of a following because there's more people out there that can relate to you than probably can relate to me. You know, I mean, I've had people say to me, I can never be as fit as you are. And I'm like, I've not always been this fit. Like, I've worked my ass off literally every single day to get where I am now. Mm-hmm. But that's how people view me. You know what I mean? I think people can relate more to somebody who is in progress of their journey than somebody who is closer to meeting their goal.
Right. And to just add to what Michelle was saying about how, you know, others have built their business with family members. Laura Lynn, I don't have any family members except my husband. I have built what I have going on through just putting myself out there on Facebook and getting out of my comfort zone and not caring what anybody else says. And like how you were saying, when you work out, you know, things jiggle, but
we all got things jiggle.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And not only that, but you know what, just with that one post, you might influence someone who has the same issue, you know, and can relate to you. So, you know, putting yourself in that mindset of just putting yourself out there and helping as many people as you can you know, like Michelle was saying, and just relate to, you know, I'm sure there's so many people on your Facebook newsfeed that you don't know that you can attract.
And you say, I am so uncomfortable with putting this out there, but I really hope this inspires somebody to start their journey today.
Exactly. And like, exactly. And I have been attracting, I guess, whatever I'm been putting out on Facebook, I'm attracting a lot of people with high cholesterol and diabetes who are coming to me. And it's just because I guess that's what I grew up with, being in a family of high cholesterol and diabetes, that I'm just putting that out there. And I've literally signed up maybe 4 or 5 people with those issues that need help. So it's just putting yourself out there and don't care what anybody else says. Seriously. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to get out of the comfort zone, but you know what? You want to make this successful for yourself, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Times harder. Harder. Those videos, Laura Lynn, I wish I videoed myself when I was bigger. I really do, because that would make people realize that they can do it. If you can do it, they can do it.
Yeah.
Take that excuse out of
use it to your advantage. You know what I mean? Use it to your advantage.
All right.
You know, use your journey. Like,